hope you're all having a lovely, what day is it? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday. You join me, as the title quite rightly tells you, live, returning back home. It is the end of my week. Yes, it's late for me coming back. What have I done today? I've ran from Fowler Welsh in Tenham, and I went up to Tesco's at Doncaster, tipped a full trailer at Tesco's Doncaster, and obviously started heading back home. And you join me as I'm just pulling out of Leeming Bar Services, or as truckers know it, it's Conygarth. So I've just filled up with fuel, so obviously the wagon will be parked up nice and full, and obviously I'm just about to get back on the A1 to do the final hour back home, and I thought, why not bring you lot along for the ride. It won't be too exciting, you know, it'll be the A1, it'll be, yeah, the A1. But obviously with it being during lockdown, some of you may be at home and you may not have really been outside since the government enforced this lockdown on us. So I thought I'd show you what the roads are like, bearing in mind obviously it's 11:30 on a Thursday, which is a weekday. Normally the A1 is, it's not overly busy, but it's normally got quite a few vehicles on it. You know, it's a constant stream of traffic normally. Notice the word normally, because it's not like that at the moment. It's actually quite nice, being able to travel around without having traffic or stationary traffic jams, anything like that. It's quite nice. So you never know as well, we might see some nice wagons while we're out on the road. Mine is definitely not one of them at the moment. 6 days and she's not had a wash. She's looking a little bit rough, with road salt and dirt on the outside of her. So she's not the cleanest thing on the road at the moment by any means. It's been, how's the week been? The week has been alright. Since I last done the live video, I've been delivering to regional distribution centres, so delivering food supplies to people like Tesco's, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, people like that. It's been, the distribution centres have been busy, so like you've been spending longer in the distribution centres than what you normally would. So a prime example of that is when I was at Tesco's Doncaster this morning. I spent 3.5 hours in there for 26 pallets to be taken off, and that was just due to the sheer amount of wagons they've got coming in, bringing stuff in. So yeah, the distribution centres are absolutely busy. I do apologise for those of you that are commenting on the chat. Obviously I can't read them and I can't respond. I can see them just popping up, but I can't read them or respond, obviously due to the fact, as you can tell, I'm driving. If you have got a question that you want me to answer, obviously do drop it into the comments of any of my videos, and when I see it, obviously I will respond to it for you. But yeah, the distribution centres, they're bedlam at the moment. They're absolutely busy. They're using this time to try and resupply all the shops. There's never been a shortage of product, but they're using this time to resupply the shops. And the roads are nice, they're quiet. like I say, the past few days I've been on distribution centre deliveries, and I've been heading in towards London during what would normally be rush hour, and there's been nothing. I've actually been getting everywhere quicker. So with waiting longer in the distribution centres, it's not so much having a massive effect, because obviously you get into places a lot quicker, so it's evening itself out. But yeah, I wish it was like this more often. It's actually beautiful, and obviously it's typical, isn't it? You know, everybody's told to stay inside and look at the weather. It's a sunny 13 degrees, so yeah, I can quite see why people who are inside are contemplating wanting to go outside, but no, I mean, if I had a choice, I wouldn't be, because as you're probably all aware, you could catch the lurgy. So yeah, never mind. But yeah, look, as you can see, there's hardly any traffic. You get the odd occasional car and van that comes past you, but predominantly it's just wagons on the road, which is quite nice, because wagons don't tend to cut other wagons up. So I believe I'm back in again next week for another 6 shifts, so that means when I get home today, I will be back into work tomorrow night, so I'll be getting just over 24 hours off, which means obviously I've got to do all the washing, wash all my clothes, my bedding and stuff like that, and do food shopping. The food shopping will be the fun part. I'm really not looking forward to it. 24 hours in which to get a week's supply of food shopping for me, and from what I understand, a lot of the supermarkets are limiting you to 3 of any item, so it could be an interesting food shopping adventure. If it's anything like last week, it'll involve going to 4 supermarkets, so that'll be the entire day off taken up food shopping. And obviously you've got to take precautions, haven't you? You've got to keep yourself safe. So for any of you that may be wondering what sort of precautions I've been taking while out on the road to try keep myself as hygienic and free of any bacterial product or virus product, basically I've got myself into a bit of a routine now. Whenever I get out of my cab or I pull up at an RDC security window, anything like that, wherever there's a chance I'm going to come into contact with anything not inside my cab, I put a set of black nitrile gloves on. Doesn't matter on the colour, but that's what I've got a box of. So I'll wear a set of gloves, and I will not touch anything in the cab while I'm wearing those gloves. So obviously, let's say I get to a distribution centre, I've got to get out and I've got to go hand my paperwork in. Set of gloves go on before I get out. I go hand the paperwork in, they'll tell me what bay number to get on. I'll walk back to my cab, and then just as I get to my cab, I will remove those nitrile gloves and dispose of them. And then obviously open the cab and get in, put myself onto the bay, and then I've got to go hand my keys in. So once again, set of black nitrile gloves on, and I'll go hand my keys in, and then obviously if I'm waiting in the cab, dispose of those gloves once again before I get in the cab. Alright, yes, it's a lot of sets of gloves that I'm going through, but it's the easiest way I've found to protect myself. Obviously then, once my bay light goes green, I've got to go get my keys back, so I'll put another set of gloves on. So this is 3 sets now at one distribution centre. I will go get my keys, come back to the cab, and I will then use antibacterial wipes to wipe my keys down, just to make sure that obviously they've not picked any contaminant up while they've been in the distribution centre, because a lot of the staff in the distribution centre are actually wearing gloves and doing the same, but you never know. So wipe the keys down, make sure they're disinfected. I have thought about possibly getting some like clear plastic food sealing bags to put them in. That way obviously the keys stay clean. But I've been using antibacterial wipes to wipe the keys down, and then obviously get back in the cab and leave their facility. Where possible as well, at facilities, obviously I'm washing my hands. So I'm going to the toilet and I'm washing my hands with obviously soap, getting them as clean as they can. I've also been lucky enough to score myself some hand sanitizer. Woohoo! Like rocking horse to get hold of that stuff, but I managed to get myself a bottle. So obviously, once again, the last thing, once I get in the cab and I've done all the distribution centre stuff, before I leave, a bit of hand sanitizer on the old hands, make sure they're nice and clean, and we're good to go. Every day, at the end of every day, I am antibacterial wiping my cockpit area down, so the steering wheel will get wiped down, the gear selector, the indicator stalk, the handbrake, the window buttons and light buttons, etc. The stuff that I'm using. Just a quick wipe down to make sure it stays nice and clean and hygienic where possible. What else am I doing to combat it as much as possible? There was something else I was doing. I can't remember what it is. Now it's completely gone. Slipped my mind. Had a brain fart. But obviously, that was it. Normally I wear like wristbands. So normally I'd have my Help for Heroes wristband on, my health one which deals with your balance and well-being, and obviously my one for the Dragonfly Cancer Trust. I'm currently not wearing those at all, because obviously they could get contaminated, and then obviously it's holding bacteria next to my skin. And I'm also only wearing short sleeves when I'm outside the wagon. So if it's cold, obviously I'm wearing my hoodie, but I'm just having my sleeves rolled up, that way my entire forearms are exposed. Once again, it's a lot easier for me to wipe down or wash my entire forearms from my elbows down to my fingertips than it is obviously if I've got sleeves on and they get contaminated. Now some people may say I'm going a bit to the extreme with this, but it's what I've chosen to do. Nobody's enforcing it, nobody's telling me I've got to do this sort of procedure to try keep myself hygienic and free of bacteria. It's my choice, and yes, it probably is a little bit over the top, but if it stops me from picking up the virus, then it's worth it as far as I'm concerned. Alright, yeah, it's costing me £11 for a box of gloves. I don't know how many you get in a box, but I've not used a box in a week, so let's put it that way. Probably get three, maybe 4 weeks worth out of them, depending on how many deliveries I do, so how many times I have to get in and out of the cab. A lot of the distribution centres, some of the distribution centres, I noticed it the other day, Iceland at Enfield, they're not letting you in the building, which is actually quite a good idea. So when you pull up, normally you would go inside the building, hand your paperwork in, then you would go on a bay, then go back and hand your keys in, and then obviously once you were on a green light, you'd go get your keys and your paperwork back and then leave site. They have 2 members of staff now stood outside their goods in door, and basically you form an orderly queue, keeping your 1.5 to 2 meters social distancing from the driver in front of you, and basically you hand them your paperwork. They're wearing gloves and they've got sanitizer, and you know they are keeping themselves hygienic. And then you go obviously do what you've got to do, so you don't have to go in the building, which I thought was a really good thing, because basically, all right, yes, you're still coming into contact with another person, but there's less chance of catching the virus if you are in open air, basically, rather than a confined room or something like that, which is a really good idea. Obviously Tesco's are letting you stay in your wagon now while they tip you, which is a good idea. Oh, there's the MOD. Everybody panic, they're going to mount the streets. No, they're not. They've been doing exercises and training. Oh, 3 people together up there. Naughty, naughty. Meant to be 2 only. But yeah, all the distribution centres are paying attention. They're doing as much as they can to try and mitigate any contact that we have with each other, which is, it's nice. Definitely self-isolating, that's for certain. Having been in here all week, it'll actually be quite nice to go home and get out the cab for a couple of days. So yeah, it should be quite nice. Obviously, as you can see, still traffic, it's just a steady flow. There's nothing major. Obviously, from what I can gather from obviously keeping up to date with the news and Facebook, stuff like that, people are actually starting to take notice now and start to listen to what the government has like advised that they do. There's a lot of companies now that are closing to obviously protect their staff, which is fair enough. Then you get some companies that think they're super important, like Sports Direct is one. The owner of Sports Direct, Mike Ashley, he said that Sports Direct is more important now, and this isn't a quote by the way, it's more important now than what they've ever been. Something to those effects of those words. And he's basically saying that they're staying open. Now, last time I checked, Sports Direct is not an essential product. Alright, yes, I can see where he's coming from, you know, supply people with sports equipment so they can do exercises at home, but it's not the most essential of things, really. It wasn't on my top priorities of places to visit on my day off, let's put it that way. So he's a bit of an idiot. He did get given a warning though by the government, so as far as I'm aware they are not open now. What else? The owner of Wetherspoons has basically told all his staff to go work for Tesco's to earn money, stacking shelves, so he's not paying them at all while they're, which is very nice of them. Not. Yeah, so from what I've seen, the majority of the companies and businesses in the UK are actually, they're being reasonable about it, you know, they're supporting their staff and they're doing as much as they can to keep people earning a wage, but then you get the odd few companies that are absolute idiots that seem to think that it's important that they work. Now, I have noticed as well that the police are out stopping vehicles. I've seen it a couple of times now. They are stopping vehicles and finding out why they are not in their houses, which is a real good idea. I like it. It basically stops people going out for a leisurely drive. I mean, I may just be jumping to assumptions, but yesterday there was a there was a gentleman down south that drove past me in his what's the best way to describe it? It's an old sports car, you know, the old style cars with the soft top convertibles, that sort of thing. And he had the roof down. It was nice and sunny, you know, he had the roof down, he had his sunshades on, his driving gloves, and to me it looked like he was just going for a leisurely drive, because there's no way that he's probably, I mean, I may be wrong, but there's no way that he's using that car as his daily driver. Just the way everything looked said to me that that was his pride and joy, and you know, that's his Sunday car, let's put it that way. And that's ridiculous, to just go out for a drive. I mean, yes, all right, he may stay in his car the whole time and not come into contact with anybody, but still, it just got me a little bit irate when I seen him, because I thought, you know, if I had the choice, I wouldn't be out there, I'd be at home. But I know that if I don't come out and do this, then my boss has got to find somebody else to drive my wagon to move this load of food to keep the country fed. So I'll do it. But yeah, it just got me a little bit ticked off, is the politest way to put it. Oh, there's nobody working on that building site. But yeah, there's an empty road behind us, completely empty. I noticed as well, a lot of the petrol stations, they're not letting you go inside them anymore, so they're serving you through like the night hatch window that they have, which is fine. I haven't got an issue with that at all. Basically mitigating you going in and catching anything or spreading anything inside the shop, which is it's a really good idea. All the farmers are out in the fields ploughing, drilling their crops. It's alright, they're self-isolated, so, and they are an important key worker, even though for some reason they've not been put on the list. They are a key worker. But yeah, it's pretty strange to actually see the country, like, the roads as dead as this, and you know, it's taking some getting used to be honest. Like, was it yesterday or the day before, it actually felt like a zombie apocalypse. You know, all the shops were shut with the shutters down, and I went past a retail, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I went past a retail park and it was just empty. The car park was absolutely empty. And it was like, it just seems a bit surreal. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've seen it at Christmas when everything's shut, but it is still a little bit surreal. But yes. So I'm about 35 minutes away from our yard now. I mean, I've got to go via Scania to drop this trailer in because it's due a service. So I'll be having to do that before I go back to the yard. And then when I get back to the yard, I'll give the wagon a decontamination, wash her off on the outside as well, park her up, and then go home. And then go grab the food shops. See how much everybody's raided the joint. Newman Aycliffe. Oh, McDonald's, they're shut as well, aren't they now? And Greggs, and Costa, Starbucks, Subway, everywhere. Oh, it's times like this I really want a McDonald's. I've never craved a McDonald's before, but now I can't have one. Oh, I'm craving one. Oh, what's this moving down here on the right hand side? It's a train. Train. Choo choo. I nearly went to join him, then I was too busy looking at him. I've noticed that as well since the roads have gone quieter and that there's been a lot more abnormal loads travelling around. Obviously making the most of the roads being slightly quieter, which I don't blame them. Can't believe it, not seeing many snazzy wagons coming down the other way. Literally before I pulled in at the fuel station, probably every other wagon was a snazzy one. Since I've started filming, not one of them, not one of them, unless they've all pulled over to watch me, which I doubt. But yes, as you can see, the roads are quite quiet, but that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to give you a bit of an update, show you what was going on in the outside world since the closure of shops and the quarantine enforcement and people staying inside. So I will end the video. I'm obviously going to carry on driving back. I'm going to get myself parked up and come back into work tomorrow night, and I'll try do some more live videos for you like over the weekend and next week when I'm at work. Maybe show you something a bit more interesting than just the A1. But hopefully you're all staying safe, and hopefully you all stay safe, and I shall speak to you all hopefully at the weekend.